Remember, there is that story about the finance bill that some of the leaders were reacting to, the opposition Azimio coalition saying that they are going to reject it in totality. You may want to know the progress so far. At the moment, you understand that the Finance Committee is retreating in Naivasha. They're supposed to be there to write their report, which that report may actually propose some amendments to the finance bill as you know it today. The Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and the KRA Commissioner General, that is one Rispasimi, are expected in that retreat to sort of give responses on the impact of some of the proposals that may be coming from that committee. Something else that you need to know about what is happening in the retreat is that once that is done, then the Finance and Planning Committee will be tabling the report. It is expected to come next week. We have heard of Tuesday, but we'll wait to see how soon they're able to do that. Once they table that, then Parliament will schedule time for a start of the second reading, during which time there will be debate. MPs will be talking about the pros and the cons of the bill and what needs to be done to it. Then after that, the next step will involve the question about going to the Committee of the Whole House, which is a stage where more conversations about some of the members' amendments will be held. If there are any amendments that have been proposed by the Finance and Planning Committee, this is when they will be considered, and they will be voting on each of the amendments. If it is lost, then it is lost at that moment in terms of the amendment, and what will carry the day is the text as it is at the moment. Then after that, they should go to the third reading, and the final vote will be taken on the bill so that it can now be taken to the President for assenting, because all this has to be concluded by the 30th of June 2023, because by 1st of July it begins to apply in terms of collection of finances. Let me begin with you, Senator, because you don't sit at the National Assembly, but your coalition leadership is saying that this has to be rejected in totality, no amendments. Really? A crucial document as such?
Yeah, I think because the spirit in which the bill has been presented, the way in which it has been packaged, it is going to spell doom to just about every Kenyan. I'm very proud some of Kenyans generally, out of the stakeholder participation that we have seen before the Parliamentary Committee on Budget and Finance. Over 1,000 memorandum has been put in. Almost over 70 organizations have appeared before the committee. Thousands of Kenyans have expressed themselves even on social media. Right. And an overwhelming majority, I think the numbers is about 90% of that feedback has been negative against the bill. So as representatives of the people, we feel the responsibility to listen to them. And what they are saying is that the bill should be rejected in total.
Okay. Honorable Mbui, how then do you achieve that? Because yes, Honorable Pio Andai is saying that you have to reject it in totality, but you know how Parliament works. It's about the numbers. Don't you think it to be favor to Kenyans, or the proper thing to do to Kenyans, to propose amendments?
You know, the biggest problem with amendments is that it has been abused in the past. If you pass the bill, it goes to the President. With amendments, he can return it to you for you know, under Article 115. To, you know, and he proposes or gives a memorandum saying that he is dissenting on some of the issues. And so when he does that, then it means that for us to be able to overturn his veto, we require 2/3, and that's really a tall order. So it's wiser for us to just reject it, and our proposal was just withdraw it and then table, you know, another one, because they can do that and we can address it. So let the committee maybe give a new finance bill, not the current one.
And Senator Veronica Maina, so then, because this is a government bill, and I mean, it's so crucial that you cannot implement the budget of 2023-2024 without the financing element. So what are you looking at, the options, despite the opposition that is coming from these leaders?
You see, some we have a challenge here, and you can hear the reasoning that is being propounded by my colleagues here, that the bill needs to be rejected in its totality. And this is normally the tone that is adopted by our opposition, unfortunately, or the minority, because even a reasonable person would be calling for an amendment to certain clauses and saying we are uncomfortable with A, B, C, and D, and we have a time frame within which this process must be completed. But for them to call for a complete rejection is not shocking or surprising, because that has been the tone of politics adopted by the minority side or the opposition. it's normally a style of sabotaging and making it sound so bad that everybody thinks they are collapsing the next minute.
Right.
And so I think my colleagues should actually be advising their principals that the best way to go about it is to, they would even be proposing and saying, why are you asking for 3%? We think 2% is reasonable. They would be in a they would be having an amiable tone.
Okay.
But what they're having right now, because of the kind of narrative they are driving, is to say total rejection, so that if it is proposed and it passes, then it becomes a fight against me, against you.
All right.
So I don't think it's a reasonable proposal. And I think what they should do is to appreciate the fact that Kenya now has a constitutional process that allows the citizens to speak into issues that they feel they need to express themselves about, the public participation process, which gives an opportunity for citizens to give their views. And those are the views that are being considered in the retreat that is being held in Naivasha.
All right, Senator, very interesting conversation here. And of course, after all this, it will be in the hands of members of parliament, specifically at the National Assembly, because that is the house that considers and passes or rejects. We'll talk more about this, and of course we'll also be joined by Silvana Sosoro, who is the majority whip at the National Assembly later on.